I live here basically, so woe to you if you drop the ball when I get back. My ex-Mill was present for some reason, and she made a totally absurd statement. I was so taken aback by my mother-in-law's words, I responded in disbelief. I went to Hawaii for my sister's wedding. I was gone for 3 nights, 4 days. My guess is, while I was away, she had moved herself in and set up camp at the house. This part was facilitated by none other than my husband, her son. I confronted my husband about what all this meant, but what he told me was beyond my wildest expectations. My name is Mia. I'm a 29-year-old sales professional. During my student days, I was dedicated to my studies and landed a job at a major insurance company right out of college. People often refer to me as a career woman. Indeed, I love my job and have been working hard every day. However, I was hopeless in love, never having had a proper relationship. Then, a turning point came in my life. That day was busier than usual, full of appointments with clients. I was about to head to a client's house to finalize a contract, but left the office at the last minute. Rushing, I grabbed the necessary documents and left the office. I hope I can make it in time, I muttered as I hurried towards the station. Just then, I thought I heard someone calling my name and turned around. A man was running desperately towards me. Mia, wait, please. It was Sean from my department who works in administration. We hadn't talked much, just exchanged greetings. Catching up to me, Sean, panting, handed me some documents. What's this? It was the document I needed for the client I was about to meet. Why do you have this document? Confused, I checked the documents I had brought, only to find they were for another client. In my rush, I had taken the wrong papers. I happened to pass by your desk and noticed these documents left behind, so I rushed to catch up with you. Luckily, I made it in time. Thank you. Without these, I would have lost the client's trust. I thanked him repeatedly. I was shaken by such an unusual mistake, but he just smiled at me like the sun. Glad I could help, Mia. Be careful out there. Thanks to him, I was able to secure the contract that day. This incident led to us talking more often, going out for meals, and eventually we started dating. Naturally, he was 2 years older than me, a calm and cheerful person. After dating for exactly 2 years, we decided to get married. I was looking forward to a happy married life. But soon after the wedding, a problem arose with my mother-in-law. My father-in-law had passed away 5 years ago, and she lived alone. Her house was close to ours, so she often came over to ask for money. Mia, you're making good money, right? How about sharing some of that as pocket money? My mother-in-law smirked as she said these words. Before we got married, I thought she was a reserved and nice person, but she showed her true colors as soon as we tied the knot. Despite repeatedly telling her I can't give her money, she kept insisting, and I was getting fed up. She seemed to be a big spender, using up money as soon as she had it. To top it all off, she even called my sister asking her for money, which really got under my skin. So I decided to talk to Sean, my husband, about it. Hey, can you tell your mom to stop asking for money? She's even calling my sister now. You said I shouldn't bother with her, but why should we have to put up with this? Please tell your mom to stop. Yeah, I'll talk to her next time. Sean's response was vague, and he never actually talked to his mom about it. After we got married, I learned that Sean seemed to have a bit of a mama's boy streak. In his eyes, I was probably the bad one for speaking ill of his beloved mother. No matter how many times I brought it up, Sean would just say, "That's just how Mom is. You don't have to give her any money, just ignore her." He suggested that I just grin and bear it. As expected, He never really talked to his mom about stopping her behavior. On top of that, my mother-in-law constantly criticized the way I did household chores, which really annoyed me. Meanwhile, as she got older and her health declined, she began hinting at wanting to move in with Sean and me in our spacious house. Since she never outright said it, I avoided the topic. However, one day Sean brought it up. Hey, Mom's getting older and feeling insecure, so she wants to live with us. I think it's a good idea. You're okay with that, right, Mia? Sean asked this with a smile, but I firmly rejected the idea. Live together? No way. I absolutely refuse. Sean didn't like my response and lashed out at me. What's with that attitude? Mom's just trying to be nice by saying she wants to live with us. Then let me ask you, what's in it for me? It's stressful enough dealing with her constant money demands and never-ending criticism of my housework. Even living apart is already taking a toll on me mentally. There's no way I can live with her 24/7. What do you mean, what's in it for me? We're family. Did you marry me just for the benefits? Our argument escalated into a shouting match and lasted for a while. In the end, neither of us budged, and our argument continued into the next day. In the midst of this, my sister's wedding in Hawaii was approaching, and I was busy preparing my dress and other things. My parents had passed away in a car accident 3 years ago, and since I'm estranged from other relatives, my sister Katie, who's 3 years older than me, is the only blood relative I have. We've been close since we were kids, and I could tell her anything, even things I couldn't share with our parents. I was as happy as if it were my own wedding when I heard she was getting married and was really looking forward to her wedding. The wedding date was set before Sean and I got married, so I planned to attend alone. About 5 days into our argument, Sean unexpectedly apologized. Sorry, I went too far. If you don't want to live with Mom, we don't have to. Really? I was relieved by his words. Thank you. I'm sorry for being so assertive, too. No worries. By the way, your sister's wedding is coming up, right? You're going to be in Hawaii for 3 nights and 4 days. Have a great time. I smiled back at Sean, beaming with joy. Thank you. I'll take lots of photos and videos. And so we made up and spent the days leading up to my sister's wedding in a peaceful, happy mood. On the wedding day in Hawaii, the venue was beautiful, with a magnificent view of the pristine sea through large windows. My sister Katie looked stunning in her wedding dress, and her happy smile brought tears to my eyes several times. Katie's husband, Ken, was a reliable and wonderful person, whom I had met several times. I felt at ease knowing she was in good hands with him. I wholeheartedly celebrated their union. After the wedding, and having enjoyed my sightseeing, I returned to Japan after my 3-night, 4-day stay. I'm home, I called out as I opened the front door of my house. To my surprise, it was my mother-in-law who appeared. Welcome back, Mia. You're here. I was shocked, and she snorted in response. Here? This is practically my home now, so you better serve me well. Astonished by her words, I hurried to the living room, where, as expected, I found Sean lounging on the sofa. What's going on? Why is your mom here? You said we didn't have to live together. Making such a fuss as soon as you get back. I lied about not living together. I moved Mom's stuff in while you were in Hawaii, so we're all living together starting today. His casual declaration infuriated me. It seemed Sean had planned to sneakily move his mother in while I was away for my sister's wedding. So you tricked me. It's not tricking. Don't be so dramatic. This is a perfect chance for you to show some filial piety. After all, you don't have your real parents anymore, so why not make the most of this opportunity? His smirking response disgusted me. My mother-in-law chimed in. Exactly. You should value your in-laws more. Start with giving me a massage. That's right, Mia. Make sure to massage Mom daily. And about Mom's room, the second floor will be hard for her to climb. So let's turn the first floor room into her room. Their presumptuous planning was too much for me, and I raised my voice. Stop joking around. This is horrible. Sean frowned and snapped at me. What's with that attitude? Like it or not, we're living together starting today. If you don't like it, leave. Stunned by his outburst, he added insultingly, Well, your parents are gone and you have nowhere else to go, do you? My feelings for Sean dropped to freezing. I made my decision. Fine, let's get a divorce. I'll handle everything. They both laughed loudly at this. Try if you think you can. Do you even have the guts to divorce? You have nowhere to go, but sure, I agree with the divorce. You're not even cute, always acting so high and mighty, just because you can do a bit of work. Sean's right. You don't even give us an allowance, and you're so defiant. A daughter-in-law like you should just leave. Their verbal abuse continued, but I had already decided to part ways with them and kept silent. Taking advantage of my silence, the two of them continued to spew insults. However, I ignored them, pulled out my phone, and made a call to someone. The phone rang, and I waited for the other party to answer. What are you doing? Who are you calling? Sean asked curiously, but I began to speak as soon as my call was answered. Hey, Katie. Yes, I had called my sister Katie. Mia, thank you so much for coming to the wedding. Are you back home now? Yes, I'm back. The wedding was wonderful. Congratulations again. I called because I've made a decision and wanted to tell you right away, since I've worried you so much. As I spoke, Sean and my mother-in-law watched with bated breath, wondering what was happening. I've decided to divorce Sean. As for the house, it's too big for just me, and I have no plans to rebuild it. I'll take this opportunity to settle the house and land issue. I declared this confidently, leaving Sean and my mother-in-law stunned, exclaiming, What? My sister Katie was happy with my decision and said, Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I thanked her and hung up the phone. At that moment, Sean started yelling at me. What are you doing, deciding all this by yourself? You plan to clear the land and the house? Don't joke around. Yeah, right. After all, Sean is the legal owner of the land and the house, isn't he? You can't just decide something like this on your own. His mother's words made Sean falter, and he stammered, well, that is... Seeing their confused faces, I clarified firmly, You seem to be mistaken, but I am the legal owner of this house and land. What? Really? But Sean said he was the owner. She raised her voice in disbelief, turning to Sean. You are the owner, right, Sean? Sean stayed silent, not answering her. I spoke to him calmly. I had a feeling, but you really did lie to your mother about being the owner. Why would you do that? Sean burst out. I was mad that you earn more than me. I couldn't get a loan for this house with my salary, so it ended up being in your name. It hurt my pride as a man. So to my mom, So you lied about being the owner to save face? I cut him off, and he admitted in a mumble. Yeah, I did. I just kept telling her that until I started believing it myself. Sean and I work at the same place, but our jobs and salaries are quite different. Me in sales and him in administration. I earn substantially more thanks to my hard work and the support of my colleagues. But honestly, Sean's salary was so low it was hard to believe he worked at the same company. Yet, there were others in the same clerical jobs as Sean who were earning a decent wage. Sean would say, Working in a clerical job doesn't mean anything. It's not worth it. He lacked motivation at work and was always waiting for instructions. Even when he had tasks to do, he quickly delegated them to his juniors. His personality was likable enough that he wasn't completely ostracized in the department, but it was clear he wasn't a welcome presence. Despite his disdain for clerical work and tendency to slack off, Sean had no desire to transfer to another department or find a job that paid better. People's salaries go up when they get promoted. Unlike sales, where your salary can decrease if you don't produce results, clerical jobs are stable. He would nag at me. With such a salary gap, it wasn't possible to simply split our daily burdens in half. Consequently, I was the one covering most of the mortgage and living expenses. His mother thought Sean had built our house and often praised him, oblivious to the shocking truth that I was the one shouldering the financial burden. However, upon learning the truth, she turned to me, her face filled with panic, and asked desperately, "Hey, tell me the story you just told is a lie, right? What will happen to Sean and me if you're really going to sell the house and land? I've already vacated my old house thinking I was moving here." "I don't know. Sean and I are getting divorced, so we'll be strangers from now on. You two need to figure out your future on your own." As I said this coldly, Sean clung to me. "Hey, let's not get divorced. I was wrong earlier. I got carried away. I can't do without you, Mia. Divorce is definitely off the table," he said, desperately clinging to me as if realizing the crisis for the first time. I sighed deeply. "Do you think everything will be forgiven just because you apologize? I can't continue to be with you, Sean. I don't even want to see your face. I'm going to a hotel for now, but I'll proceed with selling the house and land." Hearing this, the two of them turned pale and trembled. "I can't move out immediately, so I'll give you some time. But if you continue to live here without doing anything, I'll eventually take you to court and evict you." "You should start looking for a new place to live," I said, leaving the house with my belongings. "Wait." Sean and his mother tried to stop me, but of course I ignored them. Even after that, Sean kept dragging out the divorce, but I had recorded all the verbal abuse from him and his mother. The divorce was easily granted during mediation. My biggest worry, that Sean and his mother wouldn't leave the house, turned out to be an unfounded concern. Perhaps it was because I had firmly declared I would evict them through a lawsuit. But as soon as the divorce was finalized, they fled as if running away. Thanks to this, I was able to demolish the house and turn the land into an empty lot. While I could have sold the house as is, it seemed in this area more people were interested in building custom homes than buying existing ones. Selling just the land seemed more appealing, so despite some demolition costs, I decided it was more beneficial to have an empty lot. While the land was being cleared, Sean and his mother, having lost their place, apparently moved to public housing. I chose a new place to live, moved in, and at the same time quit my job. The reason for quitting was because I couldn't stand to see Sean anymore and didn't want to continue working in the same place. Plus, my new home was quite far from the company. Now, I'm working hard at a new job. This new job is actually at a company run by my sister's husband, Ken. I had been discussing Sean and his mother with my sister, and out of sympathy, she had been advising me to get a divorce. Ken had always spoken highly of my work performance, and after my divorce and quitting my job, he invited me to work at his company. I was officially headhunted by Ken's firm, which, like my previous employer, dealt with insurance. It was essentially a competitor in the same industry. At the new company, I've been working hard and achieving great results. Feeling liberated after the divorce, I can focus on work without any reservation, making my days enjoyable. "I'm so glad you joined our company, Mia. You're getting great feedback from customers and bringing in contracts one after another. You've exceeded our expectations. Thank you so much." Ken praised me for my work, so I became even more motivated and worked hard every day. Word of my reputation even reached my old company, which regretted losing a valuable employee and was scrambling to recover. In an industry prone to high turnover, my divorce and subsequent job change made people treat Sean like a pariah. His inability to work independently became apparent once he was isolated. He had relied on his charm and likability to seem productive, but without that, he was just a lackluster mid-level employee. As the tasks he could handle dwindled, so did his connections with colleagues. Unable to bear the cold treatment, Sean eventually quit. I heard from former coworkers that his job search was tough, and he and his mother were living frugally. His mother started working part-time, but being naturally lazy, she didn't understand the demands of working in society. She frequently skipped work without notice and was quickly fired. She called me once, begging for help. "Mia, please help us. I can't stand this poor life anymore." Sean's always irritable and yells at me. Please take him back, or at least lend us some money. Her cries seem forced, probably just to gain sympathy. I refused. "Why should I help you?" I replied coldly. "Don't say that. We were family. Don't you feel sorry for an old woman like me? If getting back with Sean is too much, then at least give us some money." "I won't get back with your son, nor will I give you money. Don't call me again," I firmly stated, ending the call and immediately blocking my ex-mother-in-law's number. Of course, I had already set Sean's number to be blocked as well. Since we were divorced and the property division was settled, there was no need for me to contact either of them again. Finally, I felt relieved to have blocked those numbers just to be safe. A year has passed since then, and I'm still working hard at Ken's company. I don't have a boyfriend, but I'm done with romance for now and am satisfied with my current way of life. My sister and I remain close and meet often. Recently, I found out she's pregnant, and I'm eagerly looking forward to the birth of a new member in our family. One day, while working in the area where I used to live with Sean, I saw a man in shabby clothes with messy hair and a bushy beard picking up cans under a bridge. Taking a closer look, I was shocked to realize it was Sean. Seeing his pitiable state, I couldn't help but stop in my tracks. I had heard from former coworkers that Sean's job search wasn't going well because he limited himself to clerical work. With his personality and inherent cheerfulness, he could have found other jobs, even if they weren't in administration. I even encouraged him to change jobs pre-breakup when we were still together as a happy couple into something that he would be able to use his talents for. I was so crushed to discover that he had never heard my words. But we are strangers now. Sean put himself in this spot and has nobody to blame but Sean. What an asshole lull. But I mind my business, so I veered off the I and walked straight ahead.